Hey, what is going on, guys? I'm back here with another update video. I know I made a video probably like a month or so ago, about my shredder, which I have back here right there. I wanted to give you guys an update on the shredder situation, recycled PLA situation, and sort of my findings about my experiences about the shredder and what has been happening in the past couple of weeks. So first things first is, if you go back to my video that I posted about a month ago, I bought this industrial shredder here, right behind me, and it came with there's a mesh inside of this. So like when the blades move, there's a mesh underneath that plastic can fall out of into this tray. So let me show you. I apologize, the lighting here is not the best, but here's the shredder. The top is closed right now, but basically you can open the top. So open it. Actually, let me put the camera right here. So there is a opening at the top. You just unloosen these bolts. They're not really bolts; they're screws. And you can see that this cavity is where you can put plastic in. Right underneath there is the blades where it just turns and shreds up the plastic. And then underneath here, it's currently closed, but basically you can open up this little slot here, and in this cavity is something that looks like this. So this is the mesh that is inside of this. So you can see here that the mesh size of this mesh, it's about 10 millimeters, I believe. So this is what came standard with my shredder when I first bought it. It was a 10 millimeter mesh, and I was grinding the plastic up, and the plastic came out like this. Let me see if I can show you. So the plastic came out like this using a 10 millimeter mesh. I don't know if you can see that very well on the camera, but I will give you a side-by-side comparison. Just keep in mind, this is what it looks like running it through the 10 millimeter stock mesh that came with my shredder. And I was running this through my extrusion line, and I realized that, this was you can see this is very consistent. There's a long piece there, there's a big piece there. There's very big chunks, very similar to what, your poop actually looks like from an A1 printer, which I had some in this bin I can show you. So like this is what the regular poop looks like, straight from an A1 or X1 series printer. So the size is actually pretty much almost the same. And this was having issues feeding into the extruder because obviously it's too big. So what I did was I contacted the manufacturer and asked them, can I get a smaller mesh? So that's exactly what they did. They sent me a mesh. It's currently in the machine, so I can't show you, but it's basically the same style mesh here, just with smaller holes. It's a 4 millimeter mesh instead of 10 millimeters. So that is what's currently in the machine. So the process, what we do now is we will typically do a batch with the 10 millimeter mesh inside of it, and then we get the grinds to look like I just showed you in this bin, this big, and then we will swap the mesh with the smaller 4 millimeter mesh, and this is the final result of what the plastic looks like after it gets run through the 4 millimeter mesh. If you could see, it's much smaller. The only but I've tried to just run my shreds through the shredder with the 4 millimeter mesh to begin with. And because the mesh size is so small, it takes a lot of time to regrind bigger things like these masks or these purge towers to fit through that small 4 millimeter mesh. So we had constant clogs with it. Like the blades were turning so fast that the plastic wasn't I guess being shredded quickly enough to pass through the mesh, and it was producing a lot of heat in there. And over time, I don't have a picture of it, I have some residue. Over time, you would get these giant blocks of plastic stuck between the blades and the mesh because it was generating so much heat that it couldn't pass through properly the plastic, and it would just clump up and melt, and it would clog the entire shredder. And it's a nightmare to clean these things up. So this is what it looks like actually when plastic melts, and this is like in between the blades and the mesh. It's a complete nightmare. So It was much easier for me to just shred it once with the 10mm mesh, get that size, and then regrind that mesh into with a 4mm mesh to get this. And so that is what we're doing with the shredder currently. So now let me walk you through the extrusion line. What we're going to do next is we're going to essentially take this regrind here from the 4mm mesh and run it through the extrusion line. All right, so again, what I was saying was this is 100% recycled PLA from my print farm running through the extrusion line. And this is what it looks like when it's coming off. This is 100% recycled PLA. It is extremely clumpy. It is inconsistent as all hell. But guess what? It's it's extruding fine, no blockages. It's a consistent flow, which I'm very happy with. And now the next step would be, I'm going to spool it since I'm going to spool it on some of these 3kg rolls that I have. And then down the line, I'm going to buy a small pelletizer that will probably live right here. And what I'll do in the future is I will extrude 100% recycled PLA through my line into a pelletizer that sits here. And it'll just pelletize it as it comes off the line. Right now I'm just spooling it, and then I'll pelletize this spool in the future. And the entire goal is to get the recycled PLA, the pellets, to essentially look like the raw resin, like that, in terms of the size and the feel, so that when it goes through the extrusion line, it will be a uniform and consistent flow and melt. And the goal is to get somewhat consistent 1.75mm filament. Now, my wife wants me to try to get, instead of doing the pelletizer part of it, just to mix resin with my shredded PLA. I actually have this batch right here. But what's happening is I still have to, I could do that. I probably have to play around with the temperatures, because PLA, raw PLA as it is now, not raw PLA, the PLA from my shredded plastic as it is now requires a higher temperature to extrude at. And right now, if I mix some resin into here, the temperatures are too high. I probably can lower the temps a little bit to get a somewhat consistent roll, but I don't think you're ever going to get a super consistent roll across a large batch of filament, because of the way these shreds are. They're not super consistent by any means, even with a 4mm mesh in my shredder. So I'm very happy with the way this is working. It's extruding fine. We're going to use, I gotta figure out what the issue is with this 3kg roll, because when it gets to like 3/4 of the way, it'll pop off of this alignment and it'll unwind itself. So gotta figure out maybe some settings I gotta play with. But anyways, that is the update on the shredder and my extrusion line and recycled PLA. Everything's working as I thought it would. Well, I guess that's a lie. I thought that I could just mix a batch of PLA and raw resin, but I am not going to do that. I'm going to get a pelletizer, like a lot of people suggested. Get a pelletizer at the end of this line to pelletize the recycled PLA, and then run that through the extrusion line to get recycled filament that is printable. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you guys found this video entertaining and useful. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment in the video, and I will see you in the next one. All right, so I'm on my extrusion line here. I have it started running for the day. I think I fixed the issue with it. I will do an updated video to see what my findings are correct or not. But I basically just take some regrinds here in this bucket, and I will put it into the hopper. Right now we're doing a 100% recycled batch, so no base resin, no nothing. It's just basically the regrinds. I'm running it through the extrusion line at playing around with the temps. I don't know if the temps are good or not. I have the mold at 190 and the barrel at 175. Might lower it a little bit. We'll see. The feed cooling is still getting very hot. It's at 72 right now, even though I have the temps set to 30, and that's probably because of the heat creep from the barrel going back into the feed zone. But as of now, if you look, it does a good constant flow. You can see the grinds going into the hopper consistently, so it's not getting backed up yet. And my suspicion is that once this stops and you try to feed something new in it, you kind of have to purge out the entire barrel. Like basically, like once you start the machine, you can't really stop it and then start it on the fly. I think is what's happening. So once it's starting, once it's flowing like this, I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I did add some more fans. I didn't add them yet. I bought more fans that I will be installing on the aluminum block in the feeding compartment, which basically looks like this. So I got some heatsink fans that I'm gonna attach to the aluminum casing. I also bought some mica tape, which I guess will hopefully provide some sort of insulation barrier that I will wrap around the extruder. Anyways, that's a topic for another video. Right now we're doing a 100% batch of recycled filament. So the grind's going here, it runs through the extrusion line, and then I'm spooling it. And now this is unprintable. You probably can't see it from the camera, but it is extremely inconsistent diameter, very lumpy and clumpy. You can't even get anywhere close to a consistent 1.75 millimeter diameter. So we're gonna scrap that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna spool this, and if I can grind the shreds consistently to where I can spool it, the next step is to get a pelletizer.